Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Flying Scorpion with you with some gameplay footage of Evolve. Now this is the first time that I'm uploading any footage of Evolve, and that's because for the past few weeks I haven't been able to record anything because my video cards couldn't handle it. I had two GTX 560 Ti's set up with SLI, and they couldn't record the game and play the game at the same time. Now I have the GTX 970 and it is having no problems recording the game and playing the game at the highest settings. Now unfortunately, after upgrading the video card and starting to record the game, I found that open broadcasting software wasn't able to record the game without stuttering in the video. I'm not sure why that is. Open broadcasting software is fantastic software. It's free. It's great if you want to record things or broadcast things on Twitch TV, and it's highly customizable. It's just overall really good. So since I was having problems with OBS, I switched to using Fraps, which is something I used to use years ago, and Fraps didn't have any problems. The stuttering wasn't there in the video files. The only problem was that the file sizes were absolutely massive. So how massive? 11 or 12 minutes of gameplay footage was 25 gigs. That's pretty big. So if you have several hours of gameplay footage, that's hundreds of gigs. So I bought a terabyte of hard drive space, and I'm using that just to hold on to all my videos. So last night I played and I recorded about 900 gigs of Evolve gameplay footage. And what I want to talk about first of all is some of the negative reviews of Evolve and how they turned me off and really made me wait and wait and wait before I got the game. So during the big alpha, I played Evolve and I really liked it. I thought it was a really cool game. I liked that you could just jump straight into the action. I like that if you want to play with a team, if you want to be have a role, you can play that way, or if you want to play solo, you can play that way, whether it's against bots or playing as the monster against other players. So you can be really competitive and a very skilled player and not have to get dragged down by teammates if that's something you're worried about. Those types of players, someone who's like that, you would make a really good monster player. You don't have to have any teammates. You can just play the game and win over and over and over again, and the only time you're going to lose is if you come against a really good team of hunters where all four of the hunters are good. And let me tell you, it's really easy to play as the monster and just sort of slide into this comfort zone where you can just kind of easily mop the floor with all of the hunters, and then eventually you're going to come across a team that's actually pretty competent, and it's going to be really tough. You might get your ass kicked because you're used to playing against easy groups of hunters, and that's happened to me. So the footage you're watching right now is me playing as Behemoth, and it's a stage 1 win. It's the first time I ever had a stage 1 win, but really the monster shouldn't ever be getting a stage 1 win like I did, and it was just really easy. So it's just an example of what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to put up some footage in here in the background of me playing against a really competent team as Wraith. Wraith is the character that I'm most familiar with. I'd say I'm best at as playing a monster, and it's the only character that I've elited. And actually the footage I'm going to be including is the final game where I actually elited Wraith. I was waiting to get the abduction skill elited, and I did it during that match, and unfortunately it was a loss. But as an uploader, I can't upload just the stuff where I win. If I want to upload footage where there's things to learn from it, I have to include my losses and swallow my pride and point out where my mistakes were, where the enemy team did really good, and just sort of come up with ideas on what to improve next time it comes around. And that's how you really do better in these sort of situations. You need to be able to take a step back, review what happened, and just sort of come up with a better game plan for next time. And then the next time you come across a situation like you did last time that you lost at, you'll make a better decision so long as you remember what you learned last time. So you just have to learn as you go. And I pride myself on my expediency in learning, how fast I can learn. So hopefully it works out and I end up climbing the ranks and becoming a very competitive monster player. And that's what I want to do. I've also been playing as the hunters as well, so I'll upload some footage of me playing as the hunters. Last night I was playing as Cabot, the support. It was my first time really digging in deep and playing a lot as Cabot, and he's super fun. I had a lot of fun playing as Cabot. His gun is just really fun to use. It's pretty rewarding. It's the rail gun. Yeah, it was enjoyable. So, that being said, I'm going to talk about my strategy for how I want to be a good player in Evolve. Before I got Evolve, I knew that if I just played as one role all the way up until level 40, like let's say I was playing as a monster, only a monster, all the way to level 40, and then I switched to playing as a hunter, I would be a really bad teammate to have. And if I played the opposite, just as a hunter all the way up until level 40, and then I switched to playing a monster, it would probably be even worse, because then you would have no idea how, what you're doing wrong, and you would be playing against hunter teams that are all leveled up and know what they're doing, whereas you as the monster wouldn't know what you're doing, and so on and so forth. So I've switched it up, I've played back and forth, but before I even got into playing against other players, I played custom matches against the AI, and then I started setting up 40-minute custom matches, getting to stage 3 as the monster, and then all of the hunter AIs would gather around the power relay, and then I would have like 30 minutes to just walk around the map and learn the layout of the map. And I did that for just a couple of maps, because I wasn't paid, I was really eager to get out there and play against other players, but I did it against a couple maps, and I learned the layout, and now I feel really confident when I play on those maps. I know them relatively well. I know good ways of sneaking around or where to hide or how to juke the players in those areas, and it's worked out really good, and you can really see it in some of this footage. I was playing against some pretty good teams, and I do a really good job juking them, and I'm proud of it. It depends on the trapper that you're playing against. If you're playing against a crow, it's really hard to juke him, because that bird will see you right through the walls. Whereas if it's a sound spike, at least you can sneak around, or if Maggie's dog Daisy, the dog doesn't really, it helps a bit, but I mean it's easier to juke them. And then finally Abe with his tracking dart. Abe is probably the easiest one to juke of all of them. He just has the hardest time tracking the monster. And really, I think he's a great battle trapper. He's a good battle trapper with his stasis grenades, and he does good damage, but he has a hard time finding the monster at stage 1. If he does find you at stage 1, you're going to have a bad time. And that's what happens to me in the match where I'm up against a really good team. They did find me at stage 1, and I did manage to actually get to stage 3. I only took, I think maybe 1 or 2 bars of health damage, which isn't too bad, and I got 2 strikes against the trapper, and I actually killed him, but I failed to finish the match. At stage 3, I was out there fighting them by the power relay, and they were just a really good team, so I've just got some improvements to make in that area. So anyways, what else do I want to talk about here? When I began playing at level 1, at stage 1 in the game, I wanted to play as the monster right away, because I knew that the higher in level I got, I'd be playing against other players that were higher level, and playing a monster against a team of 4 players that were level 20 when I have no experience as a monster just sounded really daunting to me. So playing against a team of 4 hunters that are all level 1 as a level 1 monster seemed a lot better. So I started playing as the monster immediately. I leveled up as Goliath, I leveled up as Kraken, and then I unlocked the Wraith. And before I got the game, I already knew about Kraken and Behemoth because I played them during the Big Alpha. I also knew about, or I said Kraken and Goliath. I knew about those 2 because I played them during the Big Alpha. And I also knew about Behemoth because I saw videos of him from some of the YouTubers that I subscribed to. But I didn't know about Wraith. And when I unlocked Wraith, I thought it was a really interesting character. He seemed really fast, really agile. I liked the idea of being sneaky and stealthy and using psychological warfare against your opponents. and I decided that's a character that I want to be the best at. I want to be really good as a Wraith player. So I played a lot as Wraith, and I was dominating. I was just straight up dominating. I had an 8.0 win-loss ratio. That was the highest I got to, and yeah, that's pretty good. An 8.0 win-loss ratio. They have a 5% chance of winning, I think, in that situation. I think that's what it is. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong. But no, that's a 20. Anyways. Point is, I was really having fun with it. Yeah, it's got to be like a 12% chance or something like that, or 15% chance of winning. That's, I don't know. Anyways, enough trying to do the math in my head. Then I was getting really bored as playing as Wraith, because really there's no one to celebrate the victories with when you're done. Because you win and then you go, yeah, I won. And if you say that over the microphone, the other players are just going to be like, screw you. They'll be like, you suck, you're a bastard. Because they just lost, right? So I started playing as a hunter, and I stopped for a minute and I thought, which hunter do I want to play as? Which class do I want to play as? And I wanted to play something that not a lot of other players would be likely to play. And I knew that Trapper is the most important role in the beginning stages. And the Assault is also a really fun and interesting role. I think a lot of players would like to play as the Assault. So I thought, I'm either going to play as support or I'm going to play as medic. And I decided to make the medic my primary choice, because I figured if I'm going to play with random players, if some of those players are playing, I guess I would say, subpar or mediocre in their skill, a good medic may be able to help kind of boost them up and keep them alive long enough to actually win anyways. And so I played as Val, and then I unlocked Lazarus, and then I played as Lazarus, then I unlocked Kyra, and then I continued to play as Lazarus. I didn't even touch Kyra because I had so much fun with Lazarus and I was doing so well with him that I just got hooked on him. And I played all the way with Lazarus until I've almost got him elited. So he's the next character after Wraith that I'm closest to eliting. And that was entirely just from playing against other players. None of that was farmed through playing against the AI. So I'm pretty happy with that. And when I began playing as Lazarus, the first time I played as him, I said to my teammates, like, okay, this is my first time playing as Lazarus, so bear with me. And they said, no, that's fine. And one of the things I really like about the early stages in the game, when your level's like 20s and in the teens, like between 10 to 30, people are much more willing to let you do what you want to do, and they don't care because they're also doing the same thing. It's not until around level 40 that you start getting those players saying, do you really want to play as Lazarus? Can you just play as Kyra instead? Like, dude, just let me play the game. I want to have some fun. So the first game as Lazarus, we won, and I was really surprised that we did. And I continued playing as him with the same team, and I was getting comments from people saying, like, man, you're showing me the power of Laz, or Laz was MVP that round, and it really made me feel good to get that kind of recognition, and I wasn't getting anything like that when I was playing as the monster. I mean, at the end, people may give you a good comment or whatnot, and they're very good sports if they say, oh, you were a really good monster that round, but that doesn't happen as often as when you're on their team. And so, it was really good. Lazarus, I decided after those matches, is a really good healer or medic to sort of save random pubs. But then I ended up playing again a few days later, and I was getting different teammates, and I had players going over to revive each other, even though I was saying don't do that. I had players backing up from the monster into caves and dying in the caves, and then I couldn't get to them without risking myself. And then eventually I got to the stage where monsters were getting smarter and they were learning to eat the corpses and things like that. And it became much more of a challenge to play as Lazarus, but a lot of that was due to my teammates. If you're playing as Lazarus, you just need a team that really knows what they're doing. And really, for anyone out there that's watching this right now, the real success to Lazarus, if you have Lazarus on your team or if you're playing as him, is to just punish the monster after he downs somebody. Somebody is going to go down. Like, Lazarus just doesn't have the healing power to keep you guys alive during the fight. Someone's going to go down, excuse me, but what you need to do is just punish the monster for camping the body. And a good monster is likely to camp the body because it's so hard to get those strikes off. A really good monster, though, at that point is going to spread the damage out, and everybody's going to be weakened, and then he'll be able to damage multiple hunters at the same time. And that's really the biggest threat to Lazarus, I think, besides players just dying in corners or underneath roofs in areas where it's hard to save them. Because what you really need to do is you need to have, if one player goes down, you need to have the other two players that are not Lazarus constantly shooting at the monster, keeping him from eating the body. Maybe Lazarus can shoot the monster from far away, but ideally you want to be able to just damage him until he gets away from the body and Lazarus can go in and revive him, or until the body disappears and the monster's taken so much health damage that it's okay, it's a worthy trade because that character just has one strike against their full health, whereas the monster's taken, a fifth or more of their maximum health. Okay, so that's enough about Lazarus. After I was done playing Lazarus, I switched back to playing as a monster. I was somewhere in the 30s in my level, and I started getting my ass kicked. I was playing against, at this point, hunters that were level 40 and were elited with their characters. Some pre-made teams, some I'm not sure if they were pre-made, but they were really good, and I didn't know what to do. And I was losing consistently, over and over again, and it absolutely wrecked my win-loss ratio. So I don't think I'm anywhere near an 8.0 win-loss ratio now. I'm not sure what it is. But what I did was, I turned to the forums and I posted on there and I said, does anybody have any good gameplay footage of a really good Wraith player, like one of the top 100 in the world or whatever, that I can learn from? And no one really did have anything that specifically was what I was asking for. There was some good footage that was uploaded that I was able to watch. Some people had some suggestions. It was good. But I didn't really learn a whole lot that I didn't already know. It looked like they were just playing against hunter teams that weren't as tough as the hunter teams that I was coming across and losing against. I don't need someone to teach me. I don't need to watch a Wraith player absolutely curb stomp a team of hunters that isn't that great. What I need to see is a Wraith player that's able to beat really tough pre-made hunter teams, or just hunter teams that aren't even pre-made, but just like all four of the hunters have eluded their character classes, and they're all really good and they're working in good synergy with one another. I need to see how you win as Wraith when things don't go your way and you get domed at stage 1, or when you take like a lot of damage, you're like at half your maximum health and from the damage you've taken, and still be able to turn around and win the match. That's the stuff that I need to see. And I haven't been able to find any of that, and so I'm going to make it a goal to try and upload that stuff for you guys to see how I handle it, how I can turn something that looks like a loss into a win, and how I beat really good hunter teams. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not there yet in terms of my skill. I've still got some improving to do, but now that I'm able to actually record the footage, I can actually provide post-commentary videos where I pick apart and analyze what I did well and what I did wrong, what the hunters did well, what the hunters did wrong, and where I can improve next time. And hopefully that's going to make me a better evolved player in the future, and it'll also help you guys become better players as well. Okay, so that being said, now I want to talk a little bit about Wraith and Wraith's abilities. Now, all of Wraith's abilities seem pretty good. Supernova seems like a little bit short. I wish that they would just sort of increase the duration and then maybe reduce the damage, because it just doesn't last that long. You can use it and then not get any hits off on anything because they're backing away from you, and then next thing you know it's gone. But it's okay overall. If you manage to get somebody backed into a corner and then you activate it, they're probably going to be toast. You can absolutely shred somebody very quickly. And if you use it in conjunction with your decoy already has a bonus to its damage, and the supernova stacks with that, so now it multiplies the damage even higher, and it's able to kill tyrants and sloths and things like that in one shot, in one, I guess, cooldown of the decoy, and you don't take any damage while it absolutely shreds them, and then you get the buff and the food. So it is pretty good in that regard. I've learned to use decoy in better ways. One of them is to shoot straight up into the air, and then you launch your supernova and then launch the decoy right afterwards. Now, the decoy is going to fall down out of the supernova bubble, but the supernova sort of obscures their vision, and all those particle effects cause it so that when they shoot at the decoy, it's not that obvious when it flickers, and when they shoot at you, you might be masked a little bit because of the cloud up ahead. By launching yourself straight up in the air and then launching the decoy, it also gives you more control over where you split yourself off and get away from the decoy, because you can see it falling down and you can go in the opposite direction, and also it's harder for the hunters to predict where you're going and shoot at you. Whereas if you're on the ground and you launch the decoy, if there's obstacles on the ground or if there's a pretty obvious path that you want to take, the hunters can see that, and you may end up getting flamethrower to your back end while you're trying to move away because they predicted you. It's just harder to predict where you're going to go when you go up in the air. So yeah, there's that. Now, Warp Blast is a great ability. It just got nerfed, but it's still really good. I'd say it's probably the main damaging ability that Wraith has. It just does great burst damage. It's great for finishing off hunters. It's great for spreading damage out. It's great for taking out turrets or the shield drone that Sunny drops. So it's a good ability. I mean, it's a bread and butter ability. I was, for a while, putting 3 points into it immediately to punish hunters that would dome me at stage 1. And I found that just putting 2 points in the ability and 1 abduction is, I think, a little bit of a better way to punish hunters at stage 1 if you get domed. And also, the utility of having abduction is just too much to pass up. There's a really good behemoth player that uses tongue grab a lot, and he uses that to pull corpses or pull meat into caves or underneath rooftops. And if you're eating meat in Evolve underneath the cover of something, you won't get birds that reveal your position, and that's really important in the early stages if you're trying to get to stage 2 without taking any damage or getting domed. So there's a couple different ways. Another way that you can go about getting staged up without taking health or without taking too much damage is to eat until you're Evolve ready, and then you have a lot of armor, and then maybe get into a fight with them, try to take as little damage as possible in the dome, and then basically rush across the map as far as you can, well, as quickly as you can, and get some distance, and then Evolve, and then after you Evolve, you don't have to worry about getting domed, and then you're free to start running again and get more food. So there's a couple different ways you can handle getting your Evolves off. And I've used both ways in different scenarios. The last ability I want to talk about with Wraith, though, is Abduction. Now, Abduction, I think, needs to be reworked. I don't think it's worth getting 3 points in Abduction. When you get Abduction to 3 points, the range on it is crazy long. It's a huge range, but it's really, really hard to land those long-range abductions. One of the reasons why is because there's no zoom on it. I mean, if you're using Lazarus's sniper rifle or Val's sniper rifle, you have a little bit of zoom, but also you have pinpoint accuracy. You have this little dot. It's really easy to aim, and it's also hit scan. It hits immediately. With Wraith's Abduction, it's not hit scan. There's travel time, and also it just seems kind of buggy. There's coding in the game where if you use Abduction on a big creature, like a sloth or on a tyrant, you will do damage to them, but you won't actually grab them and pull them out of the water or with you. And I think that coding is getting mixed up when you hit the hunters, because sometimes you will directly hit the hunter, slash at them, do damage, and then go back without actually grabbing them. And I'm glad I'm able to record this much Evolve, because I've got many clips of this actually happening. So I might comprise a video, or compile a video that's just a bunch of clips of Abduction not working properly. But for me, I don't think it's worth putting 3 points into it. I just put 1 point into it. It's got enough range as it is. And Abduction can be used in a lot of different ways beyond actually grabbing the hunters. You can use it to launch yourself through Markov's arc mines and detonate the mines without taking any damage. It's a really good ability actually for avoiding damage. You can launch yourself into the gas cloud that Hyde drops, the toxic grenade, and not take any damage and pull somebody out of it. So it's a good utility. And like I said before, you can pull meat underneath the cover of a roof or into a cave and eat it without getting burned, so there's that as well. Now I'm kind of jumping around all over the place a bit in my commentary here, but one of the other things I want to talk about, and I might wrap it up at this, is Behemoth. So I bought Behemoth, and what happened was I was playing as Wraith and I was getting really frustrated because I was playing against really good hunters and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I didn't know why I was losing, and like I said before, that's why I went to the forums and I wanted to find videos of top ranking Wraith players. I didn't really get what I wanted. But when I looked into the forums, I saw a post from this player named Geef, and he is one of the top 15 Behemoth players worldwide, and he uploads gameplay footage that is exactly the kind of footage that I'm looking for. One of the videos is over an hour long, and you can sit there and you can watch him play multiple matches of Evolve, all of them as Behemoth, and you can see how he handles situations that don't go his way. If he gets domed really early in the game, you can see how he handles it. He fights back. He puts pressure on the hunters. If he takes a good amount of health damage, you can see how quickly he has to run away or how deep he'll go into his health bar before he starts to sort of try and play a little bit more defensively. And it's really good to learn. It's also good to see how well he gets his skill shots off with the tongue grab. So I watched him, I learned from him, and then I tried applying those things to Wraith. And they didn't really work that well because Behemoth is just a different type of monster, and I lost a bunch more games as Wraith. And then I decided I'm just going to buy Behemoth and use those lessons with Behemoth. And it turned my game around completely. I started winning as Behemoth immediately, and then I switched back to playing Wraith, and then I was winning as Wraith again. And I think what happened was I got used to Behemoth a little bit, and then when I went back to playing as Wraith, I just felt very fast, very agile. I felt like I was able to sneak way better, and I used that stuff much better. And I also was more aggressive if I got domed at stage 1 or stage 2. In fact, sometimes I turn around and what's the word I'm looking for? I intentionally take a fight at stage 2 just because I'm more likely to get the hunters to fight inside of some caves or over by a pool of water or acid water at stage 2, because at stage 3 they just set up at the power relay, and sometimes that can be a real challenge. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I've finished leading Wraith, and you've probably seen the video now of me doing that. Unfortunately, I cut off the recording before I actually showed the unlocking of the Elite Wraith skin, mostly because I was pretty frustrated by the end of that match. But so that's probably why I'm going to be doing some post-commentary gameplay footage, though, is because in-game, it's in a PvP game like this, it takes way too much concentration inside the match to be able to provide good commentary for a YouTube video and also play well at the same time. So I'm going to be focusing on playing the game well while I'm playing, and then afterwards I'll provide the commentary, and it should be of a bit of a higher quality combination. In this video, and I think I'll just reveal it now, I'm not actually watching the video that you guys are watching. I'm not even at my computer. I'm just walking around on my cell phone talking into the microphone, and this is the first time that I've ever done a video like this before with this method. I spent a good amount of time thinking about the different ways you can make a YouTube video and the different gameplay videos out there, and I decided I want to try one like this. I don't know of anybody else that does it like this. All the videos that I subscribe to, or the channels I subscribe to, I've noticed a trend in the different ways that they make their videos. One of them, Northern Lion, he just turns on the game, he turns on his microphone, he starts recording, and then he talks as he plays, and he plays a lot of single-player games, so he can, his attention can be divided, and it's not a big deal, because AI is predictable, and once you learn the muscle memory, you can just do the same thing over and over again, and you can come out winning It doesn't require as much of your attention. So he just records himself for about 30 minutes playing a game of Binding of Isaac, and then he shuts off the recording, probably compresses the video, maybe he tweaks the audio. I don't think he actually does that. He just relies on having a good microphone, and then he uploads the video to YouTube. And by having such a simple and easy method, he's able to just churn out videos every day, tons of videos. He produces tons of content, and really what makes his content good is the commentary. He has a very robust vocabulary. He throws out references to all kinds of interesting things. You can learn things by listening to his videos, or listening to what he has to say. And it's interesting to watch him play Binding of Isaac in the background as well. So this video right here is similar in its style, but I'm not actually talking while I'm playing, because like I said before, Evolve just requires too much attention to be able to talk like I am right now while playing at the same time. And I might do some more videos like this in the future, because I believe that I've got some interesting things to say. I'd like to talk about the meta in some games. There's another YouTuber out there, I can't remember his name. He plays a lot of Battlefield Hardline. I might just put an annotation up on the screen right here for this one. But he does something similar to me. He's talking about stuff, not necessarily talking directly about what's on the video screen at that moment. He's just sort of talking in general about Battlefield, and then he has content in the background that you can watch. Another type of gameplay footage that you have is the post-commentary footage, and that's where people like me record the footage, and then they sit down and they watch it with you, and then they comment like almost like an announcer, like a sportscaster, saying, "Ooh, that was a good move by that guy," or "Ooh, he should have done that. Let's see if this pays out for him." You know, things like that. Maybe you don't necessarily talk like that, but you sort of break down the moment-to-moment gameplay, and you explain what went well and what didn't go well. And those are really good videos to get better as a gamer if you're using YouTube in that area. And then one of the last types of videos that people use, or styles, or the ways that they do it, is to basically record a whole bunch of footage, and then they cut up all of the best moments, and then they make a montage. And so this is really popular in games like Call of Duty. You'll have people showing off their 360 no-scope sniper skills, and they just show like kill after kill, or triple kills, or shooting through 3 different enemies in the head at the same time, and it's like, whoa, that was crazy. And they have some cool music in the background, and they sync up the action with the beat or the bass drop, and they sometimes use really cool After Effects, like 3D animations or whatever. And those videos, I think, are probably the hardest to make, but they're really entertaining, they're really cool. I don't think I'm going to be doing that because it's just, I don't have enough time. Or, well, maybe not necessarily that I don't have enough time, but I want to do other things with my time than spend the several hours that it would take to make a short video that's really high quality in that area. And it takes a lot of work to do that and do it well. So I don't really want to do that unless I am going to do it really well. Okay, so well, this is enough now. I've spoken for 30 minutes now. It's a pretty long video. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of other things I'd like to talk about, but I kind of want to wrap this up. I'm going to be making some post-commentary footage in the future, hopefully, if things go well. I may upload some more content for the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, but to be honest, like I said, I'm not really actively playing the game. I'm just sort of passively logging in once a day, collecting stuff from my mines, and then watching replays of people play against my castle. So, anyways, that's it for now, though. If you guys have any comments, please let me know. If you like this video, please like it. It helps a lot. Thanks for watching. Again, this is Flying Scorpion, and I'll see you guys next time.